Good morning and welcome to today's webinar on leveraging federal resources with USDA Rural Development. My name is Alex Lamont and I'm a Legislative and Policy Coordinator for your New York State Association of Counties. We appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to participate in this timely webinar about USDA Rural Development and the variety of federal resources available to counties across New York State. Rural Development, or RD, is a division of the U.S. Department of Agriculture that is committed to improving the economy and quality of life in rural America. From housing to healthcare, they offer technical assistance, loans, grants, and loan guarantees with the goal of creating jobs, spurring economic development, and supporting essential services in rural parts of the country. Whether your county needs assistance with first responder services, or water, electric, and communications infrastructure, today's webinar will help to connect you with the federal resources available to meet your rural community's immediate and longer-term needs. Now, I'd like to turn it over to Jeanette Stanziano for some housekeeping items.
Thanks, Alex. Just a couple of points to remind you about how to submit questions during the program. Feel free to submit a question via the dashboard. Just click on the questions tab and type in your question, and we will get to the questions live with our speaker at the end of the program during the Q&A. We also want to remind you that we will be recording this program and posting it with a PDF of the slide deck on NYSEC's website under nysac.org/webinars. Back to you, Alex.
Thanks, Jeanette. We are very happy to be joined this morning by Brian Murray, who is the Northern New York Area Director for USDA Rural Development. As the Northern New York Area Director for USDA RD, Brian covers more than a dozen counties ranging from the southern tier to the North Country. He has worked with for RD for the past 18 years, serving as an Area Director since 2008. He is a graduate of the State University of New York at Potsdam and holds a BA in Financial Economics. Prior to coming to Rural Development, Brian worked as a commercial lending officer with Community Bank for more than 15 years. He holds a wealth of outreach skills and assets and is continually building on his close ties with the community, working with state representatives, local leaders, mayors, town supervisors, as well as the St. Regis Mohawk tribe on projects and issues that matter most to the health, well-being, economic vitality, and environmental sustainability of their citizens and communities. Brian is also the chairman of the St. Lawrence County Planning Board and strives to bring those crucial members of the community together in order to collectively identify best practices and ways forward in achieving common regional goals. Brian, thank you so much for joining us this morning. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Alex. Good morning, everyone. I'm Brian Murray, and I wear a few hats actually with the agency and all that. Now that we're in the middle of the transfer between administrations and all that, New York has not had a state director that has been appointed yet, and also I'm also acting state director for the state at this time. I'd like to thank Alex, for coordinating this event and hosting it today. What we'll be doing today is just a generalized overview of the USDA RD programs and the structure of RD. First of all, everyone has heard of USDA, and instantaneously we think of, food inspections, farms, dairy, cows, all that. We have nothing to do with that. I have not set foot in a barn during my tenure here at Rural Development. What we are essentially is a partner for your community's economic growth, regional resilience, and support to grow emerging markets in your communities. Our programs and staffs are here to assist your community so that you may become self-sustaining and prosperous. We work with over 40 different programs ranging from housing to business programs to community programs and even into broadband. Next. So rural development has basically 3 different areas of concentration: rural business, rural housing, and rural utilities. Each of these areas have many different programs that they administer, which we'll go over in just a minute. Next. As far as nationally, we're set up into 4 regions. As you can see there with the map, there are 47 state offices and over 400 area offices, and our national office is located in Washington. Next. Here in New York, our state office is located in Syracuse. We have 10 area offices around the state that will work with that area's local communities. Next. So today we'll be taking a general view of some of these programs, and if requested, we can drill down even into specifics on any of the programs at a later time or during later sessions that we can develop here with NISAC. If anyone has questions, we have set some time aside at the end to discuss them, and as Alex has stated and all that, you can put your questions in the chat link, or we'll open up the mic at the end to discuss whatever questions that you do have. So this morning we have Dave Schermerhorn, who is our Business Programs Director, Jennifer Jackson, who is our Single Family Housing Program Director, and Brenda Smith, who is our Community Programs Director. And each of them will be reviewing the different programs that they oversee with USDA RD. So next slide. So we can start out with Dave Schermerhorn in the business programs. Dave, floor is yours.
I apologize for the technical difficulty here. Give us 1 minute and we will make sure that Dave is able to speak. All right, Dave, if you unmute your mic, you should be able to talk now. Sorry about that difficulty, everyone.
If I sound like I'm coming from.
We can hear you now, Dave. Thank you for joining us.
All right.
Jeanette, can we put the slide back up, please?
I'm having a little bit of difficulty. I don't have the have the presentation screen.
Yeah, but if you give us just 1 moment, Jeanette is pulling it back up and we'll have the slides ready for you in just a second here.
Well, in the meantime, I guess I can. I can start as you work.
Sorry,
out
Dave. Bear
Yeah,
with
no
us.
problem.
For some reason, we've ended up with your screen, which is unusual, but I am working on fixing that. So just bear with me for a moment.
I have the PowerPoint here, so
Okay.
I can start with this if you.
Yep, I do see it.
Okay. This is the same PowerPoint, so I can just go with this to start with until you resolve whatever the control issue is.
Okay, Dave, we're there we go. My apologies. We are things are corrected now.
Oh, okay.
And we do have your audio and we do have the screen up. So you're good to go. My apologies for the delay.
Not a problem. rural development's business programs, we oversee generally nine programs through the state structure. We have a variety of grant and loan guarantee programs. We also have a couple of direct loan programs. The emphasis in rural development is on loan guarantees to leverage private capital through private lenders. The first program, the business and industry loan guarantee, this provides a guarantee to a private commercial lender, which could be a bank, a savings bank, a credit union, insurance companies, anyone that makes commercial loans as part of their business. And this is a pretty broad-based program. The eligible uses of funds include business acquisition, business expansion, including real estate, equipment, inventory run-up, working capital. It could also include refinance to restructure and create a better long-term financial structure for a company that would be desirable for. So long as the potential loan doesn't involve the transfer of jobs from one area to another. Access to this program is through the banking system. Our customer, if you will, is not the business, but the bank or credit union that's looking to provide the loan to them. And we work pretty closely with the lending community for the B&I loan guarantee. Next. Again, more information about eligibility on not-for-profits, for-profits, cooperatives, federally recognized tribes. All are eligible for the B&I program as borrower. And again, it provides a guarantee to a commercial lender that is looking to make a loan but might need some sort of credit enhancement. The risk might be something outside the lender's comfort zone, or the other use of the loan guarantee program can allow a smaller institution to make a larger loan, so it can bring the community banks into play on larger projects that they otherwise might have had to take a pass on. Next. Our renewable energy and energy efficiency programs are laid out here. The most active is the REAP, Rural Energy for America. This can provide either energy efficiency or renewable energy assistance. It consists of both a grant and a loan guarantee aspect. For the renewable energy, can be used, for example, for anaerobic digesters, solar energy arrays, geothermal or windmill constructions. The renewable or the energy efficiency, program can be used for efficiency upgrades for for example, lighting, grain dryers, other heating, other large users of energy. And I think there's a little bit more on the next slide, if you can move to that. The grant program can be used for an energy audit, which could form the basis of a future grant request for an energy efficiency grant and or loan guarantee. This has been used in the past for, especially here in New York, for grain dryers and lighting upgrades to reduce the electrical consumption, and the small user windmills for rural businesses, especially some farm units, to decrease their reliance on the commercial energy grid. Next. And again, just another view: energy efficient lighting, upgrades to big energy using equipment, insulation, heating, and renewable fuel installations for the individual businesses. Next. The REAP program, as I said, it helps finance through a grant, which can be up to 25% of eligible project costs, and that can be paired with the loan guarantee, reducing the equity requirement from the business. And next. Under cooperative programs, the emphasis in the past several years has been somewhat away from the on the ground rural development specialist in the states, but we still do put a focus on technical assistance for cooperatives, especially for cooperative startups, and that primarily consists of technical assistance either through the library or an assisted referral with the specialists that are primarily housed in our national office. The last program that I wanted to mention that might be of specific interest, the Rural Business Development Grant, is a fairly active grant program that it has had standing funding for 30 plus years. Generally, New York State has an allocation of somewhere between 800,000 and $1 million. The typical grant is typically sized around 100,000. Eligible grantees are municipalities and not-for-profits, and the purpose of those grants are to provide assistance to small and emerging rural businesses. And it's a fairly versatile program that can be used to fund a technical assistance program such as workshops or seminars. It can be used to fund a revolving loan fund administered by a municipal entity. And it can also be used for equipment acquisition. So, for example, a local organization such as an IDA or an LDC could acquire some equipment for the benefit of a local business the municipality or not-for-profit acquires the equipment and in turn leases it to the rural business. So that can provide some assistance. It can keep some of the equipment needs out of the formal lending package. It's just another avenue to pursue from the business standpoint. Frequently, those equipment leases are structured with no interest, so that makes them attractive. Spreading the risk from their primary lender can also make it more attractive. And the advantage to the municipality is the IDA, whatever the grantee might be, is as the principal payments return, then the grantee can redeploy them for other business purposes. They don't need to be returned to USDA. That's what I have for business programs, and I guess it's over to Jennifer.
Yep. Well, thank you, Dave. And Jennifer Jackson is our Single Family Housing Program Director. So we'll give Jennifer the floor.
Okay, I think my mic is turned on. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. So many of you in the audience may be unaware that the USDA is in the mortgage lending business, but in fact we are. Being rural community builders, housing is an integral part of our mission. Many of the single family homes and even perhaps some of the apartment complexes that you see in the rural communities that the audience serves, you might be surprised that USDA is the lender behind many of these projects and rural homes in the communities that we serve. So specific to housing, our role and mission is, next slide, to increase economic opportunity and improve the quality of life for people in rural America. We do this through well-built, affordable, and energy-efficient housing. We're not new to the housing business. We've been providing housing loans and grants and guarantees in rural communities for over 70 years. So these aren't programs that are new initiatives. They're here today, gone tomorrow. We've been housers for over 70 years in the very communities that you serve. To give you all a scope of our housing footprint in the rural communities, just in New York alone, we've assisted last fiscal year that we just finished up a month ago, over 1,600 families by providing a little over $198 million of single family housing direct loans, grants, and loan note guarantees. Next slide. So we're first going to introduce you to our Section 502 direct single family housing program. So these mortgages that I mentioned that are right there in the communities that you all work and live in, we provide these direct loans right out of the federal treasury to low-income applicants to purchase homes in rural areas throughout the country. We finance existing and we also construct new homes. So beyond the fact that we're unique in the fact that we are a direct lender, the federal government is the lender, we are the servicer. Another really unique feature of our 502 direct program is we do not require a down payment. We do 100% financing. We don't charge PMI, which can add to the cost of the mortgage to a low-income family. We self-insure, so we don't need to charge PMI. We also offer a longer term of 33 years as opposed to maybe a bank or a credit union that would offer a term of 30 years. By going those extra 3 years, it makes it more affordable to those low-income families. But the key differentiating factor of our mortgage program is that interest rate. We offer a below market note rate, but we also provide subsidy assistance for qualifying families so that they can get a subsidy on their interest rate as low as 1%. So this is extremely unique. it makes homeownership affordable in these rural communities. And so it's something that you want to, maybe consider if you have folks that come into your counties that are looking for homeownership options that are affordable. Next slide. So you're like, okay, where are these rural areas? I'm out in a rural area. How can my folks take advantage of these programs? Well, this is a website that you do want to bookmark, because if you go into this website, you can type in an address and literally in seconds, it'll tell you if that property address is or is not in a rural area. And I know it's hard to see on this slide, but if you look at these areas like Rochester, Albany, Buffalo, Syracuse, those are kind of shaded in a little bit darker. You can zoom in on this map and you can see right down to the street, right down to, a sidewalk even, or a fence of where those lines of eligible and rural areas are. They're very integrative maps where you can, drill down right to the house. So beyond putting an address, you can look throughout the map of New York and determine where these rural areas are. And as you can see, most of New York is considered a designated rural area. So that opens up a lot of New York to our programs and assistance. Next slide. So you might ask, okay, well, I've got more moderate income people that could benefit from a no down payment mortgage. Well, we have an option for them as well. It's very similar to like maybe an FHA loan or VA loan, where a participating lender will make the financing available to the customer. But USDA is there behind the scenes, similar to FHA or the VA, with a guarantee. So we guarantee the lender up to a 90% of their original investment in the event of a loss, which minimizes and offsets their risk. And that enables them to give the customer better rates and terms. Again, financing 100% of the loan to value so that it doesn't require a down payment. We also do not have the lender charge PMI because we are insuring that mortgage. So again, it's another way to get moderate income or even some low income folks into housing and home ownership at a very low cost and affordable way. Next slide. So in addition to our home purchase program, we also offer a home repair program. So you might have some properties in your community that might be, in need of repair, or a senior that just is making a decision over prescription costs, or food because they're on a fixed income. We don't want them to have to choose between keeping their properties up in good repair and safe and healthy for them. So that's where we step in with our 504 program, where we assist these very low income rural homeowners to make repairs to their single family homes. And they can also be accessibility modifications for individuals with disabilities. Next slide. So some of the key highlights of the home repair loan program: the maximum outstanding 504 loan amount is $40,000. We can do a lot of repairs for $40,000 with a fixed interest rate of 1%. That is a fixed rate, so it's spread over 20 years. It's amortized, in a way that makes it affordable for an individual or a family that's on a fixed income of some sort, or it can even be wage income, but they just have to be in the very low income category. And the other thing that really makes it attractive, particularly for seniors who may not want a mortgage on their property, we only file a mortgage if there's a loan of $7,500 or more. If it's under that amount, it's a promissory note, which again is very attractive, particularly to seniors who do not want mortgages on their property. Next slide. Our grant program is also under this umbrella of 504. The key with the 504 grant program is they can only be provided to seniors, as defined as 62 years of age or older. And then the maximum cumulative lifetime assistance is $10,000. So maybe they only need $5,000 for repair now. They can come back at another time so long as their lifetime assistance does not exceed that $10,000. And grant funds have to specifically be used to address health and safety hazards or to make the home handicapped accessible. We also look at their ability to pay. So some of our seniors that might qualify for a grant, we have to first offer them a loan grant combination. So they might get a 50-50 split. Maybe part of this assistance is in the form of that 1% fixed rate loan, and the other portion is in the form of the grant that they might qualify for. And again, no lien on the property. They just sign a grant agreement, basically pledging that they will live in the home for 3 years, that they will own and occupy it. And if they have to leave the home before that time period, then they would have to repay the grant assistance received. Next slide. So not everybody either owns a home or maybe wants to own a home. So we have an alternative to home ownership for those folks that are looking to maybe reside affordably in a rural community. And I would say there's a pretty good chance if you drive through your rural communities that you all work and serve, you will see one of our apartment complexes. Next slide. So we have a multifamily housing loan portfolio that spans roughly 460 apartment complexes throughout rural New York alone. That's a little over 13,000 units. So of these apartment complexes, 270 are designated elderly, meaning you can be 62 years of age or older, or an individual or persons with a disability to reside in one of those units. And the other 190 or so are family projects, meaning you have to be low income, but there's no age requirements or need to be disabled to qualify to live in that apartment complex. But the great thing about these apartment complexes is that most of them have place-based rental assistance linked with them, making that unit affordable for a low-income family. And it incentivizes investment in those areas because these developers are not-for-profits that either own or operate these apartment complexes. They're willing to invest in those rural communities because they know that they can get market rents with our subsidy or maybe New York State subsidy or Section 8, bridging that gap of affordability. And again, these are all located in those designated rural areas. Next slide. And finally, so if you're looking to maybe identify where are these apartment complexes, I have people coming, into our office all the time looking for affordable rentals, and maybe there's a huge waiting list for Section 8. If they go to this website and click on New York and actually drill it right down to your respective county, they can get a listing of each and every apartment complex that's in that county with the contact information for the property management, and they can apply to be a tenant in that apartment complex. And it'll also designate whether it's elderly, disabled, or if it's a family project, so they know, if it's more geared for their needs as well. And so that's all I have from the single family and multifamily housing perspective of our programs, but I'd be glad to answer any questions or provide any follow-up presentations if there's a need to know more about our housing programs. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Next, we'll hear from Brenda Smith, who is our Community Programs Director. Brenda?
Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Okay, great. So I'm going to cover rural utility services, community programs, which includes the water and environmental programs and the community facility programs. So there's a few different programs here we're going to go over today. So rural utilities provides the much needed infrastructure or infrastructure improvements to rural communities. These include water, wastewater, electric, telecommunications. So there's some programs that are administered at the local level, the state level. There's some programs that are administered at the federal level. And so we'll kind of go through these ones, the different programs, explain what they are, and we'll go from there. So the first program we're going to look at is community facilities. Community facilities is a program that provides anything that's essential for your community that your community may need. Hospitals, healthcare clinics, educational facilities, municipal buildings, highway maintenance. We do DPW buildings, maintenance garages, town and village offices, municipal vehicles. We do a lot of snowplows, being New York, some street sweepers. We've done garbage trucks before. So anything that your community might need, we do a lot of fire rescue, first responders, vehicles, police cars, fire trucks. The requirements on that is applicant must be a public body, a not-for-profit, or a Native American tribe. The project must be located in a town, city, village with a population that's under 20,000. So it must be physically located in a rural area of under 20,000. The population can serve a larger area than 20,000, but where it's physically located at must be within the 20,000 parameters. We have both loans, grants, and guarantees in the community facilities program. Last year we had an excellent year. Last year we did, I think, 43 projects here in New York State. We spent over $67 million in just the guaranteed loan, the direct program. The guaranteed program, we spent over $13 million, and then we spent just under $1 million in grants last year for the programs. Go ahead, change next slide. So the community facilities, both the direct loan and guaranteed programs, the eligible purposes are real estate, buildings, equipment, vehicles. We can pay for the construction, the expansion or renovations to the facilities. You can purchase a new vehicle or major equipment. Eligible uses of funds is anything that you need to do the project. So all construction related costs, all architectural and engineering fees related, all soft costs related, including an environmental, your legal costs, any rights of ways, interim financing, all of that is eligible in the project. We don't do anything commercial under the community facilities program. So if it's anything that's a commercial enterprise, that's going to be Dave. And I can't do anything recreational. So if it's recreational, I can't do anything recreational unless it has an educational component, such as something for a school. Let's see, go ahead, there we go. The next program is the electric program. This is one of the programs that is administered by our national office. We have what's called general field representatives that handle the programs. They do all the inquiries. They process the applications right at the national office. So go ahead to the next slide on that one. So the electric program basically is to provide, maintain, expand, and upgrade the rural electric infrastructure. They have loans and loan guarantees to finance the construction and improvements of the electrical system, distribution, transmission, and generation facilities. Again, it's for rural areas. So this program, I think Chris probably could give us, we could probably supply a link to right to our national office too, if anybody has more, wants more information on this program. But it's, like I say, everything's done. The applications are all online. You use a system called RD Apply, which is the same program that we use under water and environmental programs. So everything is done completely online. You submit the applications online. They are reviewed at the national level and funded at the national level. Okay, next slide. Telecommunications, yeah. So telecommunications is basically, we have several different programs under telecommunications. We have the Community Connect, we have distance learning and telemedicine, we have rural broadband and telecommunication infrastructure. This again is a national program. It's administered at the national level. We do have a New York general field representative that does handle all of these programs. And you can see the link that Chris put at the bottom for our Reconnect program, which will also provide you a lot of information on the broadband program. These programs are basically used to make, expand the broadband, telecommunications, distance learning and telemedicine. So a wide range of what we can do under these programs. And again, if you wanted more information, we can certainly dig down further into all these programs at the national level and get you some more information. And it's basically there to help expand the broadband, get the telecommunication out there, and provide it to the rural communities. Okay. Water and environmental programs. That program is administrated right here in the state. And that is open for both a direct loan, grants, guaranteed loans. That is for drinking water, sanitary sewer, solid waste, storm drainage facilities in rural areas. Last year, New York State did 42 WEP direct loans for over $114 million. We did 19 grants for over $26 million. This is a very active program for us here in New York State. We do a lot of projects in this, and this is basically anything that you need to do to construct or repair or make modifications or expansions or improve your drinking water, your sewer, your stormwater. It can include water source, treatment, storage tanks, your distribution systems, pump stations, collection systems, anything that you need to support your water, sewer, or your solid waste systems or stormwater systems. Again, just like with community facilities, this program is for construction cost, your engineering fees, your legal fees, your land acquisition, permits, any type of equipment you need for the program. The difference on this program is the water and environmental program has a slightly less population. It's 10,000 for the population. I think that might be on the next slide. So this program is it's there to improve your infrastructure. This is a very active program in New York State. This application is submitted online, just like with the electrical and telecom program. This one is also submitted through RD Apply, so it is an online application process. Next slide. We also have a pre-development planning grant and a search grant. Both of these programs are pretty much the same, with the exception of the percentage that you're eligible for the grant funding. So this program allows you to do your engineering report or environmental report, or both of them. It allows you to do the initial upfront information that you need in order to submit your application via RD Apply. You need to have your PER, which is your environmental report, and your environmental report, and these two documents are required with your application. So this is for rural areas, 10,000 or less population. The poverty line, or 80% of the statewide non-metropolitan MHI, is actually 45,506. So it has to be the MHI for the 2010 has to be below 45,506, and this will help you prepare what you need for your funding application. The difference between the PPG is it's a maximum of 30,000 or 75% of the pre-development cost. So you would have to pay 25%. The grant could cover up to 75%. The search grant, the only difference on that one is it's for populations of towns, cities, villages, 2,500 or less, and it can be up to 100% of the cost, or a maximum of $30,000. So that's the difference. Same purposes, but slightly different percentages that you're eligible for the grant funding, depending on your population and your need. Next slide. So like it's the WEP program, applicants, public bodies, not-for-profits, Native Americans, same thing as community facilities. The big difference here is the 10,000 or less. The population has to be serving an area of 10,000 or less. One program that we don't have a slide on this for, and I did want to cover just real quick, is the Emergency Community Water Assistance Grants Program, and that's what we call ECWAG, because we love to have acronyms, and I apologize if I use one you don't know. This is a grant program that helps you make improvements due to a some sort of emergency, whether it's a drought, flood, tornado, hurricane. There has to be some sort of event that caused the problems with your system. It's only water, and we can do grants of up to $150,000 for repairs And if you need a new source, the source grants can go up to $1 million. So again, the same requirements, less than 10,000, public body, not for profit, but that is strictly for emergency situations. That's really it. Interest rates right now, 1.25%. For our poverty intermediate is 1.75, and our market rate is 2 1/8. And same thing with community facilities. Our interest rate for community facilities is 2 1/8 right now for our direct loans.
Thank you so much, Brenda. Thank you also to Brian, Dave, and Jennifer. We really appreciate all of you joining us and providing us with this very helpful information for our members. We do have a couple of questions we'll take before we wrap, so I will read those as time permits, and then we'll try to wrap up by 11 o'clock here. The first question we received is, do you have any examples of New York State counties that have received awards for any of the programs discussed today? And this question can go to whoever is able to answer it.
Well, this is this.
Go ahead, Dave.
Go ahead, Brian.
Okay, one example just recently and all with the last round of Reconnect is Madison County was granted an award, you know, to bring broadband throughout some of the underserved areas of the county, as well as Livingston County. They also applied and received Reconnect program funds for down there. So county, at the county level, there's 2 examples and all that, but a lot of them are with, you know, the local communities, the local towns, the villages, and all that we work with. So Dave, if you expand.
Well, I was just going to say we've done the intermediary relending program with Delaware County. Also, we recently worked with Livingston County on the same program. We've worked with Oswego County for the Rural Business Development Grant. But as you say, a lot of the grant programs are a little closer to the ground. They a lot of the programs have been with the towns rather than the counties.
Thank you both. And as a reminder to all of our participants, you can type your questions into the questions box of the GoToWebinar dashboard. We have time for a few more. The next question is, are there any approaching grant or loan program deadlines that counties should be aware of?
Let's see, as far as the single family housing, that is an open application period. You know, we always have funding, you know, available for those programs. Really, it depends on, you know, what the program is that you're looking at. You know, like the rural business development grants and the business programs. Usually those applications are due sometime in the spring, usually around the March area. It depends on the announcement, the NOFA, which is published for each year for any one of these programs, but you know, for the RDBG as an acronym goes for that. So that's another one. The water and waste programs, that's an open application period also. Most of ours are open applications. The new Reconnect program, the new broadband program, round 3, that we have not seen a application deadline or anything on that yet, but check with the NOFA announcements and it will be in those announcements as far as the application periods.
Great, thank you, Brian. If a county or another local government needs help with a grant application, can USDA Rural Development recommend any firms you have experience working with that may be able to support a county with their application?
Well, what I seem to be hogging all the questions here, but what makes rural development unique is that we do have 10 offices across the state. And there's a reason for that. And the reason is that we are involved with those local communities. So really, as far as technical assistance and, assistance with the paperwork, which there's, this is the government, there's a lot of paperwork, there's no way to get around that. But work with your local office, that is in your area. Work with them. There's, staff there that is knowledgeable, and they will actually be processing a lot of the underwriting of a submitted application. We also have specialists in our state office here in Syracuse that can, really, get further into the weeds. And also, we have, staff on board that can assist you, with any questions and through the process itself. I can't stress enough, this is more of a partnership than a application format that you may be familiar with, maybe going through the state or through HUD or some other agency and all. So we're here. So that doesn't say that we can't get out, or you can have some type of a grant writer, helping you with the paperwork and all, but really our staff is here to assist.
Thank you, Brian. Jennifer, I believe you discussed the single family housing program. We received a question related to that program. Is there any age limit for single family housing?
No, not at all. I mean, for the home purchase loans, 502 direct and guaranteed, you have to be, 18 years of age or older. You have to be, a legal adult to be able to obtain a loan through that program. But as far as like a cap on age, no, not at all. The only age restriction that we have regarding our single family housing programs is in order to receive the grant assistance for current homeowners, you have to be 62 years of age or older to be considered for that grant assistance.
Great. We have one final question. Who can I contact for more information about any of USDA RD's programs that were mentioned today? Excellent. I see we have Brian's contact information.
Okay, right?
That was quite the segue to that last frame there. So yes, you can obviously, you can call any one of the staff, be your local office, be here at the state office, or certainly myself. And also, we get a lot of inquiries, and a lot of it is conversations. We're thinking about this type of a project, what's involved, and we can walk down through that stuff. And also, I can certainly refer you to any of the program specialists or the program directors here for more technical type of conversations. So,
excellent. I think that's
I would just add that earlier in the presentation, there was that one slide that lists those 10 area offices throughout the state of New York and the counties that they cover. And also obviously going to our website, that'll also include that map of which of our 10 area offices cover all the counties throughout the rural areas of New York. So that's a resource there. But I would also add that the one unique feature, well, there's many unique things about USDA Rural Development. Being a federal agency, there's not a lot of federal agencies that are embedded in these rural communities like we are. A lot of times federal agencies, there's regional offices that cover multiple states, whereas USDA, both on the farm service side, the rural development side, natural resources side, we have local delivery within USDA. And so we are reachable, we are approachable, we are not in another state. We not only are in New York, but we're in multiple locations throughout New York, and there's representatives and those resources to assist individuals, communities, municipalities, counties right here within the communities that you all serve and that we all live in, quite frankly. There's mention of Madison County. I live in Madison County, so I mean we're all employees with USDA, but we're members of your communities as well.
excellent. And as a reminder to all of our attendees, the slides will be posted on our website along with a recording at nisac.org/webinars. There you can find the contact information that Jennifer mentioned for the local offices, as well as all of the great information that they shared today about these different grant and loan programs. Brian, Dave, Jennifer, and Brenda, thank you all so much for joining us. We really appreciate you taking the time for this session, and thank you to all of our attendees who tuned in this morning. Take care.